Hello, and welcome to what will be the first, hopefully, of a series of interviews with AccessAdvisr's key partners. And just in case you don't really know about our partners, they are the people that support AccessAdvisr. They provide help to keep us going throughout the year. And without the key partners, we wouldn't be able to bring you the YouTube channels, the Facebook page that we've got, the website. So it's really interesting to try and find out a little bit more about our partners and what they bring and what they do to help disabled people. In this first interview, I'm going to be meeting with Richard Williams, Managing Director of Traveller Chair. And hopefully we're going to find out more about Traveller Chair and Richard's vision for what it will be and what it will be in the future. So Richard, welcome to this first of a series of AccessAdvisr videos. Today we're going to talk about you and Traveller Chair, what it means for you and what it means for disabled people. So perhaps you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity, Rob. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So I'm Richard Williams. I'm the owner, founder, managing director of a product company called Traveller Chair and a product called Traveller Chair. So I'm a husband to a beautiful lady called Jane, who was born with cerebral palsy. So she was late out of the womb, one of a twin. So her sister was fine. Jane got captured in the womb a bit too long and ended up with cerebral palsy. And as that relationship's informed my view of the world, as you might expect, heavily for the last 30 years. So I'm a father of two, so I've got two grown-up kids. One's an author, one's a producer, lives in the States. I'm a professional engineer, so time served into engineering, 3 degrees, all that sort of stuff. I'm a manufacturing specialist. And I bought to call myself that for a long time, but actually I am. I've run manufacturing facilities, significant facilities at senior level for 30 years. So I know one end of a spanner from the other, I guess you could say, and I know manufacturing. So I guess on from that, I'm quite a seasoned interim as well. So more latterly, I've gone into companies and helped them out where they've sort of lost the plot a little bit. So last couple of years, I've spent as an MD for 3 different businesses, just recharting the course really. But now all of my time is focused on Traveller Chair, the business and the product as we get it to market. So it's now in pre-production in that stage. So I think next week we test build the first one with all the component parts, and on from there really. So hopefully everything fits together as it should. We press the button and life gets interesting for a few months.
Excellent. Before we move on to Traveller Chair, you've talked about your career and your family. Is there one sort of fun fact or interesting fact about you that people might not know that you'd be willing to share?
Absolutely, yeah. So you won't know, Rob. Very few people do. Although when I've one too many sherbets at a party, I do tend to tell people this. I'm an internet sensation. Would you believe it?
Okay.
So, I'm an old Northern Solar, so Wigan and Blackpool Mecca and all that sort of stuff. And when I'm happy, 2 things happen. I cook and I eat, and invariably I'll put a bit of Northern on and have a little bob, and that's really a sign of my happiness. Yeah. So my daughter was living down in London. I hated it. I hated the fact that she was living away. I hated the fact that she lived in such a room in a shared house that cost her a fortune. And she came up to see us one Father's Day. And so my daughter took me out for a pint, which is exactly what I just want my kids to do. I just want to have a pint with them. We had some food at home. Wife cooked a beautiful meal. And I'm really, really happy. I had a nap in the shed, which is my favourite place. Little nap, woke up really good. Had a bop on the patio, put my headphones on, had a bop, and my daughter filmed it. And she said, do you mind if I put it on the post? You know, it's dad dancing. And so she put it up, and lo and behold, I got over 1 million views.
Oh, wow.
Over 1 million views. And you still find it on Twitter or whatever. Yeah, so there you go. I am an internet sensation. There's an interesting fact for you.
Well, that's a very interesting fact. Thank you.
I have to say, you know, if I put a bit of Northern on, do a bit of dancing between stirring the pan and taste testing the whatever I'm making, and I'm happy.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you mentioned Traveller Chair briefly in your introduction. Perhaps you could tell us a bit more about Traveller Chair and how it came about.
Yeah, sure. So it was not intentional. So you know, it was not something that I sort of I've been thinking about for years and or whatever. So no intention at all. So it was after a trip over to Asia. So my wife and myself like to get away in the winter because it's easier for Jane, my wife. If we can find a bit of sun and let it soak into her bones, she moves a lot easier.
Yeah.
So we try and get away into Asia in winter. And we're coming back, normal trip, 5:30 into Heathrow in the morning from Kuala Lumpur. And the same old crap as well, you know, and I'm sorry to speak in those terms, but it just is so frustrating. And I'm sure people can relate to it. So, you know, assistants, organised, everything. And I always get a little bit stressed, and so does my wife, to be fair. But, you know, I think the companion often gets a lot of the stress, you know, because they want everything to go smoothly. So the chair didn't turn up. We sat there like lemons at 5:30, you know, waiting, and the crew want to get off the plane, but we're still waiting. Didn't turn up. I went out of the plane actually, and much to the crew's sort of disgust or irritation or whatever, you know, they said you can't. Somebody will come, and I said just watch me. So I went out and I actually found an abandoned chair, brought it back into the plane, put my wife in it, and off we went and through and out the airport. But the whole stress of that, you know, and I was so fed up with that experience. Well, it just spoiled the end of the trip. It had been a great trip, but had good days out and stuff. It just spoiled it, soured it really, as it, you know, these things do. So we get home, and you know, it's bubbling away at me, that sort of needle in me, you know, that we'd have to go through that. And so because I've been pummeled with logic since I was an egg, sort of thing. So I'm thinking how I might resolve it, and I just, you know, mulled it over and thought about it, and I thought, you know, I reckon I could fix it. I reckon I could. What you want is something that's you're not going to be reliant on anybody. You want something that you can take onto the airplane, so it's got to be compact. So we disguise it as a case or whatever, put it in a case. I'm having all these thoughts and stuff. And that was really the catalyst, if you like, of the thing being the solution to the problem being born. So then I was actually between contracts. I'd finished a contract as an interim in the December, so I got some free time. So I thought, you know what, I'd set aside a little bit of money. I thought I'll just have a play around and see where we get to. And the more I got into it, the more hooks it got into me. And that's really how it all sort of started. So it was trying to fix a problem for myself and my good lady wife, Jane, trying to fix our problem. And that's all it's been, really. If somebody else can benefit from that, then that's fantastic. And the amount of support I've had from people who it would benefit and people who know somebody who it would benefit has really encouraged me to take it to its conclusion, really. So that's pretty much how it came about.
Okay, so for those that don't know, could you try and just describe the product briefly?
Sure. Yeah. So Traveller Chair is a solution to our problem. So what it does is allow you to, it's a piece of luggage. It's sized as a carry-on case. So it's got an 17-litre case. But it's got fitments on it that allow it to spring out into a transit wheelchair, right? So it's not a day chair, or it's not, you know, a wheelchair that a disabled person might use, or somebody who's not disabled for that matter might use, you know, for a long period of time. It's a transit wheelchair. That's what we sell it as, even though it's just passed all its testing criteria for wheelchairs. So it's a very robust product. It's not a ropey product. So it looks and feels like a case. That's what it is. Rob?
Here's one I made earlier.
Here's one I made earlier. Yes. So this is the prototype that we've been thumping around, and it opens out into a transit wheelchair, and that's pretty much it. It can take 100 kilos, so it's tested, road tested to 100 kilo. This particular prototype we've really kicked it to death. It's done about 60 miles of live testing, fully loaded, bashed into curbs and goodness knows what. So it's really, really robust. It's easy to operate, which is one of the things that I learned early doors. I was walking up my local high street, actually. There's a guy trying to put his mobility scooter up, trying to be independent. So he got it, you know, out the car, out the boot, on the floor, but he was on his own, and I think he'd forgotten how to do it. And he was nearly in tears, this guy, you know. And so I sort of tried to help him, and eventually we figured it out and we got it up. And it wasn't difficult, but it wasn't completely intuitive or straightforward, and there were no instructions or anything. So it's quite a learning point for me in what we did with the product. So I guess we probably had 4 major shifts in developing the product. So the first couple of sort of designs went a long way, and then decided to change tack. And a lot of these changing tacks comes back to trying to be honest to the original concept. And just you know, what you want to be able to produce is something that solves a problem that myself and my wife have got.
Yep.
Not to grow the scope and be something else.
Yep.
So that's what the product is, really. It's a 17-litre case, and it's a transit wheelchair, and it moves from one to the other in about 30 seconds. My wife takes about a minute to do it. My colleague in the office here takes about 12 seconds. Depends how.
Okay, so where are you in terms of production and marketing with this product?
So we've just signed off the final stage of some of the component parts. The pre-production run starts not next week, the week after. So we make the first 10 off, and then we make sure that everything is as it needs to be. And then we go into the first production run, which is a couple of 100, 300, something like that, which is the first segment of the first 1,000. So I guess we're looking sort of August, delivering the first ones, end of August, maybe, something of that order.
Okay,
yeah.
Brilliant. And what do you think the biggest challenges are, or have been, during the making of it?
Well, you know what, myself and the guy I've got working with me who does a lot of the design, CAD stuff, we did a risk assessment of everything that could go wrong, both with the product and the environment and all that sort of stuff. And I remember we've got a little office that we used, and we sat and we went through, and we were very diligent, and we never figured on COVID. we never identified that there'd be a worldwide pandemic, and that there'd be no flying, no transport, there'd be isolation. So that COVID's been a massive challenge, and it's probably cost us, in truth, at least a year.
Okay.
And it really meant that I had to go back into full-time work, just earn enough money to keep the project going, really.
Yeah.
So it was never intended that I spend a shed load of money at it. Everything I've earned for the last couple of years has gone into developing this product, because I was in, it's chips are on the table. What are you going to do? You can't be half pregnant, can you?
No. Well, lots of bigger organisations have failed to predict the pandemic, so I don't think you're alone there. But hopefully things are easing up now, and then travel will start again.
I've said is designed to solve a particular problem around flying for Jane and myself, but it will be equally at home on cruise or train. Jane and myself used to travel down into London, into St Pancras. St Pancras is like it's miles long. You have to walk about a mile before you even get off the blinking platform. And just to have something that you could just pop out and use and get you to the taxi rank would be really helpful, and then go around the museums or whatever. And also cruises as well. I've not been cruising, it doesn't appeal to me, but I was watching Jane McDonald the other day, and she was walking blinking miles, getting from one end of the ship to the other, because they are massive little towns, really.
Yeah.
So the product is sort of, transferable into those environments. And in fact, when one of the little promotional things we did, by far and away, the bulk of the feedback was, this product is so compact, it'll be really good to sit in the car. Not, this product is really good, it'd be nice to take an oldie with me. So the majority of people commented on the compactness and be able to get on the bus easily, or the train, or whatever.
Okay, that's really good. And it sounds like from one idea, there are quite a lot of uses that are coming out of your development, which is really good. And where do you see things in the future for Traveller Chair, and what's your vision for going forward?
Traveller Chair is the business is and the product is it's a commercial enterprise. So me and you have had this conversation before. So I'm not a charity. I don't want to be viewed as a charity. It's a commercial enterprise. However, I've got skin in the game, as it were. I am quite passionate about people having to live a restricted existence. In this day and age, there's no way that should be something. If somebody is breathing and wants to, then they should be able to move from A to B in a relatively easy fashion. And you don't need all this crap that's put in, the barriers and the limitations that are put in front of you. And I'm not just talking about disabled people, because Traveller Chair, my wife is registered disabled, but it's a mobility issue. It's not a disability issue, if that makes sense to you. And there are loads of people in this world that have got mobility issues. My Auntie Audrey, who's of an age, but she likes to save a few bob by going on a budget airline. So she'll fly from East Midlands with Ryanair. Ryanair's terminal, it's like, must be at least a mile away from and they don't want you to get there early, so there's no seating. So it's a mobility issue. And so my Auntie Audrey will say, I don't really fancy going to Mallorca again this year because of all the crap that we had to go through last year, which was walking a country mile to get to the entrance of the airplane, and then when you get there, nowhere to sit. So I think coming back to your question, where's it going? I want commercial success that can drive other initiatives. And I've got loads and loads of ideas, trust me, that can drive some other resolution. So I think that if you just put the commercial hat on a minute and talk about the marketplace, and some people who are seeing this will hate me saying this, but if you view the disability segment as a marketplace, and I know it's distasteful, and I apologise for using it in those terms, but it's important. It's important because we get a solution in thinking about things this way. So we see time and time again products designed for disabled or people with limitations, designed for them by people who don't appreciate what the real problem is. So it's a part solution, and that can be something as straightforward as silly as a handrail, which actually has been designed by a designer with partial knowledge but full knowledge. Yeah. So they design it in bloody bright white, that goes on the side of your house. It tells everybody in the street that you've got an issue. Or it can be something far more complicated. But so I think that we need to divide up everybody's issues. Your issues are different to my issues, are different to Jay's issues, are different to my Auntie Audrey's issues, and they are very specific to you. If we get a solution for an aspect of your life that's a problem to you, that's very specific to you, and other people can hook onto that and get something from that, then actually that makes sense commercially, But what people try and do, companies try and do, is trying to get as much of a market segment as possible by appealing to more and more people, and then you weaken the solution. Does that make sense, Rob?
Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what I think is that we should try and get solutions that are very specific. So we have not got 28% of our country have got mobility issues, but there's not a solution for 28% of the populace. No. There might be a single solution for all 50 million of those people, or whatever. So I think we've got to. What I want to do is get more and more understanding of the specific issues that drive problems that are close to my heart and close to people's hearts that are in this environment. It's not a catch-all. I get social media traffic that sort of is critical of it won't take people over 100 kilos, the product, or the seat's not big enough, or it's this or it's that, it won't go down an aisle. Yes, I know all of that stuff, and if that's an issue for you, then you need a different solution.
Right. Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
Catch all things.
Yeah.
I think we've almost got conditioned into thinking that this, it's one size fits all. I think where mobility issues are concerned, it's really a bespoke, a tailored fit, rather than a Marks and Spencer's one size fits all.
Okay.
So you've got me on my hobby horse there, Rob.
Thank you. No, that's fine. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Just to conclude, I wondered, is there anything that maybe we haven't asked you, or I haven't asked you, that you think you'd like to talk about?
There is actually, Rob. There is. Given hopefully some of the audience of this, and one of the things that I'm sort of it's just a kernel in my head at the minute that I want to share with people and get some feedback on. And it's something actually that you said to me, and you said it in passing when we chatted the other week, but I can't get it out of my head. So there's something there. And what you said to me was, you can have the best equipped facility for disabled access in the world, but if the staff are crap, the experience is crap.
Yep.
And do you know what? That is so insightful. So insightful. And I want to use that knowledge to hopefully create something that wakes up more solutions. So if we could make a bigger impact by using that knowledge to drive a solution, and the solution is that people actually give a toss when they interact. So a lot of the coping with coping with disability or interacting with disability or mobility challenged people or Joe Public generally, let's say, it's Tuesday's induction training, you know, and trust me, you know, I've probably fed that machine. So, you know, you have an introduction to your pension arrangements on Monday, you know, Tuesday afternoon, it's health and safety. Wednesday, we talk about, you know, interacting with Joe Public and anybody who might have a special need. You know, Thursday is, you know, a tour of the canteen, and that's it, and that's your induction done, and off you go, son, you know. And then we wonder why the experiences are crap. So British Airways drive me nuts. They drive me insane. They have got some of the best people that I've ever experienced when it comes to interacting. So when I talk about interacting, I mean somebody who sees an issue that I've got and just takes it away, just solves it. Because I'm not interested in all the other crap that comes with it. Please, I've got this issue. Can you please help me? Don't worry about it, sir. This is what I've done. This should be all right now. If it's not, then come see me. So British Airways have got that in their arsenal, and I've met people and I've experienced things in British Airways that have been phenomenal. Also, the same organisation, I've had some of the most dire experiences, you know, from not just indifference, which I hate. Indifference is a real case of people have to deal with the public, but just downright rudeness, putting obstacles actually in my life and myself's way rather than solutions. So the thing that you said to me about you can have the best facility in the world, but if the staff are crap, then the experience is crap. It's really stuck with me. And if Traveller Chair gets into a situation where it's generating funds, then I fully expect to put some of those funds into that solution. So I think the stuff that you do is great. So getting people to note down where some of the experiences were good or bad or whatever, but I think we should go further. I think we should use that as a tool to drive people who deal with the public to do something about their staff and how they are trained and how that training is verified and marked, because it's not enough. It's not enough to sheep dip and say, I've done the training, they should be fine. It starts actually at the recruitment end, you know, so people should be recruited because they want to do that job. And if they, and instead, you know, I've used this stuff all my working life. So profiling people, do you want to be do you want to be in an environment where you meet people, you discuss things with people? I'll bet you, right, that if we got all the customer centric people who are in work, I'll bet you if we've got all those people, you know, if there's 1 million people that are customer facing, a fraction of them would have the right mentality. If you did a profile analysis, you know, it's all that stuff. They're probably not wanting to be in that environment. You know, probably don't like talking to Joe Public. You know, being wanting to care about people isn't in their makeup. So if you haven't got the right, you know, it's like trying to make a pie or something without the pastry or without the filling. You know, you've not got the raw ingredients, so how are you going to fix it? That's, you know, again, you've got me on a hobby horse there, Rob, and I feel strongly about that. That I think there's a way forward there, and I think the things that you do through AccessAdvisr and other people are trying to do it in a similar way. I think there's something there that we should use as a driver to get better people, better equipped in customer-facing environments that enable those people to go through those environments, even if the environments aren't as good as they could be, but the experience can still be improved.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm glad that something I said recently had helped to create a germ of thought there for you. But That's really useful. I haven't got any more questions. I'm really grateful to you for coming on and being the first of our interviewees. Thank you for telling us about Traveller Chair. Not only that, but thank you for your support of AccessAdvisr. It's been really helpful. As I said in my introduction, it really helps, it helps us to carry on doing what we do. And so, thank you. I wish you luck with your launch, and I look forward to seeing you, on the Who's or Sunday Times Rich list in a few years' time.
No, I don't think that'll out, Rob, because I'll give most of it back to you so you can do something about getting decent access.
Thank you very much, Richard. It's been good to speak with you.
Okay, take it easy. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.